I think as judges we wanted to genuinely look at a next generation and see what was actually happening. We know that at the moment there are marvellous things happening in poetry. We think that poetry is in a good place, as they say, and so we wanted to choose 20 poets who represented that good place. This is the Gala celebration of the Next Generation Poets 2014. The poets have been touring for the last several months to 23 different venues, and tonight is the culmination of that.
It's both an honour and good fun to share this stage with so many poets tonight.
A King's Invocation at the Globe Theatre spins me from my stand to a time when boyish bravado and cannonade and plunder were enough to woo the regal seat.
I think one of the best things for me about the new gen has been the exposure to new audiences. So I've done 3 readings thus far. I did a reading at Oldham, at Nottingham and at Keats House in Hampstead. And I felt that each time there was a slightly different audience, and I met people at the end who'd never heard of me before or never seen my work and showed an interest. So it was a wonderful platform just to find a new audience.
Having it read in the poet's own voice makes a huge amount of difference, because with this diversity of voices, I think just things like diversity of accent, of tone, of syntax makes a huge amount of difference hearing it in person rather than just reading it on a page.
I think this is a good way to kind of to get into the poetry. You hear it now, and then you go and buy it and read it afterwards. I think it's better to hear it first and hear how it's almost intended from their perspective, and then kind of apply your own perspective to it afterwards.
Mining. I let socks dot the washing, coats grace a chair's arm. Her hospital bag, too hard to unpack, stayed slumped and ignored, but eventually there was a gathering, the limp outline of her sighs carried upstairs. It accumulated in the cot, a cold pit of pajamas, dresses, jeans, my heap of her, visible through bars.
Cain and Father Kay share a property, a hutch in the suburb of bachelorhood, overhung by cheesecloth, shoehorned with mutton and things re-abbreviated, the hairy household mythologist and his adherent undertow, ornamentation, a hat, bunch of rhododendrons, diadem the width of a yacht.
My father liked the blues and Lady Day. He left Jamaica way before the reggae rocked all night in backstreet studios, before King Tubby or Augustus Pablo. But I used to love a boy who loved thick lugs of ganja, loved dub reggae, loved on Sunday nights to cross the river and take me to the House of Roots and Abashanti in the cobbled arches under Vauxhall, where the Lion of Judah decked the walls and stacks of speakers pumped electric bass, a single bulb above the smoky haze. And on the stage, a little dreadlocked man like a Rumpelstiltskin shouted "Jar" and spun his blistering tunes over a single turntable. The criteria for selection is that you've had a book published in the decade before, and actually a decade before I wasn't even writing poetry. And so lots of the people that I'm in this group with are people who I learn an awful lot from as I was sort of going through my own poetry career.
I think the real thrill of being on a list like this is that you are one of many. So you can move away from that egocentric, troubled, angst-ridden situation that is being a poet, for a moment anyway, and be with other poets in a group like tonight at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, when we're all gathered to read together. And that is something that I don't often and won't often experience, and what an honour that is for a brief time to feel like a member of a group, and where you're not just rooting for yourself, but you're rooting for everybody, and hopefully they're all rooting for you. That's a really nice feeling.
Taking the poets on tour just felt like the natural next thing to do, because we know that in the end this is the Poetry Book Society and we're talking about books, but then let's get the public in front of these poets, let's get the poets in front of the public, let's get them mixing together. And it wasn't like a kind of Rolling Thunder review where they all went around on a big bus. There wasn't all of them, there was a mixture of poets from this promotion, from other promotions, to show that actually what we've got here is a kind of continuum. And audiences appreciate that, and they think, well, here's the new ones, here's the not quite so new ones, here's the older ones. That all seems to work. And I think it worked very well, and I think it's good that tonight is a kind of climax of that, and that we've got them all in one place, and people looking at this. I'm going to tell them tonight, like I said, save your tickets, and let's see what happens in 10 years. Let's see where we are in 10 years with these poets, and I think we'll be somewhere very exciting.